because we were speaking about Doechii recently and like gave a full reaction to her album. If you want to go check that on YouTube, but she's obviously having a moment. Big up, shout out to her because I think she's a very dope artist. But one of the producers for one of her biggest songs and like the one she actually performed at the Grammys, Denial of the River, kind of broke down how he actually made this beat. So let's check that one out.
What's up, y'all? I'm going to be breaking down how I produced Doechii's Denial is a River off of her Alligator Bites Never Heal mixtape. And before I get into this, funny little backstory. So I was doing daily uploads on my YouTube channel at the time when I made this. And it was like 6 in the morning or something like that. And I was like, oh fuck, I don't have a beat for tomorrow. So I'm scrambling, I'm like going through my record collection, I'm trying to find drum break to chop up, I'm trying to find samples. And I have this Paul Nice 45. I can't really remember what, I think it's called Five Fingers of Death. And I was going through it and I was like, ooh, like this has some drums and this has a sample on it I can chop up. And I'm chopping it up, I'm making the beat, and it's like 7 in the morning. And I'm super tired. I'm like, man, this beat's not finished, but I'm just kind of stuck. I feel like I need to add something else. And I just couldn't figure out anything else to add. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have to upload it how it is. You know, I'll do a better job on the next beat, right? I wasn't really pumped about it. I was like, this could be better. So I upload it, and then like a couple months go by, and it starts picking up traction. I was like, whoa, this is getting a lot of views. And I think as of this recording, it's sitting at like 500,000 views, which is mind-blowing. Crazy. So it just goes to show, man, like release everything. Even if you're not super excited about it, just release it. You never know. You might get a placement out of it.
I mean, that's a gem right there. Straight up. Like, and not just music, but like kind of creativity in general. Like, I think a lot of people overthink it. I think as an artist, as a creative, as people that create, like you can become this perfectionist kind of mindset that'll have you stuck in paralysis, that'll have you putting away, not posting things that other people might like, not only like, but might love. That if you sit on it for too long, like you might just be lost, and you might have lost something that could have done something for you, or grown its own legs, or had its own life. I know producers go through it. I know artists go through it. I know anybody that like creates kind of goes through it. Like it's that kind of weird feeling you get when, like, let's say you're designing something, you have it in your mind already. Like you think it's going to be fire. You think it's going to be this, that, and the third. You can see it clearly. I'm like something I go through, like as somebody that like designed websites and web design and stuff. You can see it clearly in your head. It's so dope. Like you think it's going to be this super fire thing. And then you sit down and you start to design it. And you just spend hours on it. You just look at it and you're like, I don't know, something just don't feel right. Might not be coming together. Might be a little off here and there. Instead of finishing it, completing it, maybe putting it out there to see what people think, you just shelf it. Put in the folder, never see it again. While sometimes that is obviously warranted, there are times when it's like, nah, it's good enough. It's good enough. Just put it out there. People have different perspectives. People might see something else in it that you don't necessarily see because you spent far too much time on it, or hear something that they don't hear, that you don't hear, that you're like, drums could have been better. Could have came a little tougher here. Not my best work. But sometimes not your best work will get turned into your best work by people that discover you. So that is a gem he put out there. Work. Put your work out there. That's the whole point of living life fearless. Is create work and put your work out there. Face your fears. Fear is the dream killer.
But anyway, let's jump right into how I made this beat, shall we? So I found this sample, and I ended up just using one of the stabs, and I pitched it around, and this is the original sample. I ended up using that first stab, right? So I programmed these stabs. And then later on in the beat, it goes like this. That was cool and all. I was really hyped about that. But as I was turning in all the stuff to the label, we couldn't clear the sample. So I was like, fuck. Like, damn, we can't clear it. We didn't have enough time. I think we had like 2 weeks left to turn it in.
I think that is one of the tragic lost art forms of hip hop these days is classic sampling. Yeah, you get like kind of sample flips of like more modern pop and hip hop R&B songs these days that are glorified remixes. But truly sampling, truly finding some drum line, some horn, some lick, something, and then stretching it, distorting it, turning into this wholly new sound is something that is extremely lost in hip hop because people have become so litigious and so protective of, you know, their artwork that they want just cashed out for. Back then, nobody cared because they didn't even know what was happening. They didn't even know hip hop was popular or that you could make money from it. But the moment hip hop started making money, sampling died.
And I was like, oh man, okay. So I just had to replay the sample. Luckily, all I had to do was replay one chord and then just pitch it back around, you know? So this is what I ended up remaking. You know, I thought that sounded pretty good. I was happy with it. I sent it to them. Oh man, okay. So
this is the
I just
original.
Man, we can't clear it. We didn't have enough we couldn't clear the sample. That was cool and all. I programmed these stabs.
That is a nasty ass hip. I ain't gonna lie. See this new one.
All I had to do was replay one chord and I was like, oh man, okay. So I just had to replay the sample. Luckily, all I had to do was replay one chord and then just pitch it back around, you know? So this is what I ended up remaking.
I mean, it's still tough, but that first sample sounded a lot more full, a lot more like kind of like texture to it. But, you know, still close enough. Still got the idea. Put the idea in his head. Sometimes that's all you need.
You know, I thought that sounded pretty good. I was happy with it. I sent it to them. They gave it the thumbs up. All good. So the beat starts out with this vocal sample that I got off of the same Paul Nice 45. It's like a bunch of like talking, like little sound effects and stuff. And so I grabbed this to start the beat off.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
Then I use this vocal chop right as the beat drops, just to give it a little bit more impact. Then I use this sound effect from the same 45. I use a lot of the sounds off of this 45. And it sounds like this. Then I got this scratch sample off a splice. And then later on in the beat, I put this horn sample in there. And then to start the verse off, I use this vocal shout. Just put some delay on it. And that's pretty much it for like, you know, as far as like the music side of it goes. And all together, sounds like this.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Just the vocal chops alone and that nasty kind of almost horror themed stabbing he got going on. Like, yeah, it's tough. He got something. He got an ear because that's tough. Like hearing it like stripped down without the drums right now. Like you can see all the different layers that went into the song. It's fire.
Pretty dope. Next, I added these drums. We have a kick drum. Snare. Hi-hat. Basic stuff. And then next up, I added this bass line. Again, very simple.
Ooh. Oh, that sounds like one of those 90s, like H-Town, dirty ass bass line sense that's like street horror type shit. Like, now I'm hearing like all these different pieces. It's just crazy.
And that's literally the beat, y'all. It was that simple. It just goes to show, man, like you don't need to do anything crazy. You don't have to have all these layers. It just has to have a vibe. It has to sound good. You know, don't overthink it. And yeah, that's what the beat sounds like.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
Yeah, man. That's
Fire. Fire. Even though he calls it simple, like the ability to have the ear for all these different elements and the way to piece them together and layer them the way that he did, that is not easy to do. That takes talent. And he's clearly a very, very talented producer. And like, I think this is one of his first major placements too. And like, in terms of like actual like major artists. And for this to be one of your first placements and to be the song that like catapulted her to the level that she is now and like to get a Grammy because now he's a Grammy winning producer. Crazy. And like the amount of talent out there and producers these days is insane. Obviously the tools are easier to use than ever before, but the amount of talent out there is definitely insane. Like, and I love this kind of like nasty 90s esque beat that he had, and he gave it to the absolutely perfect person for this because she bodied this visually, musically, everything. Like, sheesh. Got to watch out for him. Like, he might have a bright ass future in this game. But I think like producer breakdowns maybe some of my favorite things to watch on YouTube, quite honestly, like to see what goes behind production, what they were thinking, their ear for different things, different elements, and when they piece it together. Like I love watching those. And like honestly, my goals is to start getting these beat breakdowns on this channel, which might be coming soon. But yeah, that's it for Doechii. Ian James. He made the beat for Doechii, The Nile's a River. One of the hardest beats of last year. Facts.